we're just adding pearls to this string with these till samples. It's very exciting. It means that big vein is likely not the only occurrence that we're going to be drilling, and there's definitely more to be found along this Appleton Fault Zone.
Joining us for a conversation is Roger Moss, the CEO of Labrador Gold. Dr. Moss, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Maurice. It's great to be back again.
Glad to have you back on the program, as you have some very encouraging news coming from the Kingsway Gold Project, this time in the form of pristine gold grains. Before we begin, Dr. Moss, who is Labrador Gold and what is the opportunity the company presents to shareholders?
Well, Labrador Gold is a junior mining company based in Canada, and we're really exploring in Newfoundland right now, and our main project is Kingsway project. We've done quite a bit of work on there over the last year or so, and made a discovery late last year of visible gold in quartz grain boulders, and we've been drilling it for now a few months, and we've had some really nice high grade hits. So yeah, I think the potential is there, and some of the news that we've been putting out recently, I think, really demonstrates that. And today's news just, I think, adds even more to the story.
Dr. Moss, take us to the Kingsway Gold Project, which is along a structure highway known for gold-bearing fluids. Please acquaint us with the primary structures.
Yeah, well, one of the things that really interested me about Kingsway when I first heard about it and we moved to acquire it was the fact that we had these major crustal structures running through it. And we know that the kinds of gold deposits that we're looking at here, orogenic and epigenetic gold deposits, they are associated with these major crustal structures. So if you have them, it's great. You can find gold along them. And we are fortunate enough to have two, the Appleton Fault Zone and Dog Bay Line. Most of our work to date has been along the Appleton Fault Zone, and that's it's almost a no-brainer, because down to the south of us, where Newfound Gold are exploring, they've been having incredible success exploring along the Appleton Fault Zone with their great intersections at Keats and Lotto, and most recently at the Golden Joint. So they have three occurrences down there along the Appleton Fault Zone, and ours is just starting, and our big vein target is also located along the Appleton Fault Zone. So it seems to be a pretty prospective structure that's running through the property.
Speaking of the big vein in the Appleton Fault Zone, at the conclusion of our last interview, you stated that the big vein may be the first of many occurrences, and that the ideal situation is finding a string of pearls along the Appleton Fault Zone. Let's see if the ideal has the potential to come to fruition. Let's visit the Appleton Fault Zone, as earlier today Labrador Gold announced till results of pristine gold grains. Dr. Moss, what can you share with us?
Well, yeah, I think it was we did a pretty big till sampling survey over the southernmost two licenses of the Kingsway project, and I think there was 57 till samples in total, and we got some really nice results. And the key here, and I think you said it twice, I'm going to say it again, is pristine gold grains, and that means that these grains haven't traveled very far from their source. And that's what we see here in these results. So if I can just digress a little bit so that I can explain why these pristine grains are so important, we're looking at rocks and grains that have been dumped out of glaciers as they melt and recede. So when the glaciers move across the rock, they scrape and scour the bedrock, and they entrain all the material that they're scouring, and they carry it with them. And when they recede and melt, they start dropping that material all the way back to the source. So the more pristine the gold grains are, the closer to the source they would have been, because you can't transport these very flaky gold grains very far without completely modifying their shape. And so in terms of gold grain morphology for till sampling, we talk about pristine, closer to the source, modified, further away, maybe around half a kilometer or more, and then reshaped where the gold grains are totally bent onto themselves and more rounded, and that's furthest away from the source and probably up to over a kilometer away from the source. So the pristine grains that we have, they indicate that those grains are very close to the source of mineralization that they came from.
Identifying the source, mode of transportation, along with pristine gold is a huge success. Does today's release bode well on the ideal of having a string of pearls along the Appleton Fault Zone?
Oh, absolutely. To give you an example, and this is where it gets really exciting, because we had a till sample that was taken right next to Big Vein, and it had something like 165 grains of gold in total, and something like 80% of them were pristine. That's great. So it hadn't come very far from the source. But we know that Big Vein has visible gold in there. We found a big boulder last year of quartz vein with visible gold in it. So it's not a big jump to say that, well, yeah, sure, that till sample came from Big Vein. Yeah, seems to be a reasonable idea. And but the results that we announced today, there are two samples. Another one with 165 grains of gold, somewhere around 90, just over 90% of them pristine, very close to source. And the other one, 311 grains of gold, just over 80% pristine. 311 grains of gold is almost double the number of grains of gold that we found in the sample next to Big Vein. And that occurs 700 to 800 meters northeast of Big Vein. So that means that those samples, or the gold grains in those samples, did not come from Big Vein. They came from somewhere much closer to the sample locations. So this goes back to my pearls on a string story, and we're just adding pearls to the string with these till samples. It's very exciting. It means that Big Vein is likely not the only occurrence that we're going to be drilling, and there's definitely more to be found along this Appleton Fault Zone.
Speaking of extending the string, Labrador Gold has embarked on a 50,000 meter drill program this spring. What work is currently being conducted on site, and do you have any updates on when we may expect more assays?
Oh, that's what everybody asks, of course. I mean, you got to ask it at some point, and the answer is always the same. I mean, the labs are backed up. We're getting results, but they're much slower, and it seems like as every week goes by, the turnaround time gets longer. I had one of our guys was at the lab yesterday, and he came back and he said, "Roger, you won't believe the number of samples that are in that lab waiting to be assayed." He said there are bags and bags and bags just waiting to be assayed. I said, "Man, you should have taken a photograph, and that could be my answer when I get asked that question." Look, this is what it's like. The labs are jam packed, but yeah, no, I mean we are getting results in. We will be putting out more results from the drilling. It's going well, and yeah, it's just, I know patience is not the biggest trait of some investors, but you know what? I think that we're gonna be there when these results come in. It's gonna be good, and I think we've got a long way to go yet. So yeah, I think patience is definitely required here.
Leaving the Kingsway Gold Project, let's get into some numbers. Sir, please provide the capital structure for Labrador Gold.
Yeah, right now we have around 150 million shares outstanding and probably another 50 million warrants and options, so just over 200 million fully diluted. We have, we have 35 million in the bank. We don't have any debt, so yeah, I think we're in a pretty good position to keep on with this exploration that we're doing and to keep going.
In closing, Dr. Moss, what would you like to convey to shareholders?
Well, you know what, earlier in the season when we were drilling, and it can be frustrating sometimes when we're not hitting as often as we would like, or as we don't see the results that we would like. But of course, not every hole is going to hit. But I just tell myself, don't stop believing, and that's the name of the game here. You have to believe as a geologist in this industry. You got to believe that you're going to find the deposit that you're looking for, and I think all indications right now are that we're on the right track, and it's a matter of time before we see something significant.
Dr. Moss, for someone listening that wants to get more information about Labrador Gold, please share the contact details.
Yeah, it's you can email info@labradorgold.com. www.labradorgold.com is our web address, and I would really recommend people look at our Twitter feed at Lab Gold Corp. We post a lot of information on Twitter. YouTube is another channel, our YouTube channel. Lots of videos there. So there's a lot of information out there besides what's on the website. But yeah, Twitter and YouTube are both channels that we use fairly extensively.
Dr. Moss, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Wishing you and Labrador Gold the absolute best, sir.
Thanks very much, Maurice. Pleasure to be here again.
All the best to you.
Thanks.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.